Good. And back.
Yes. Wonderful, wonderful morning. We're continuing on this month with our theme, change. And this month, specifically, our theme is change freely. Change freely. And I'm still discovering that change has a lot to say. I don't know about to you, but to me, it's been an experience of change these last 10, 11 months. And the experience for me has been one of change pulling me near and drawing me close to its bosom and gently whispering over and over and over, go deeper. I don't know if it's change or if it's Reverend Sheila. But somebody to go deeper, to embrace change, to endeavor to become someone new. The principles that we'll be working with today, that you can find, I believe, in the back of your seat, in the trifold. We work with our spiritual principles every Sunday. And this Sunday we'll be working with spiritual principle number 7. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. Spiritual principle number 10. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. Spiritual principle number 11. We believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny, for we understand that the life of all is God. God's grace is my sufficiency. God's grace is my sufficiency. I want to start us off this morning with a reading from Joel Goldsmith in his book, Parentheses and Eternity. And I'm reading from page 262. He says that illumination brings freedom from dependence on persons and things. And the only perfect human relationship there can ever be is one in which we do not look to anyone for anything. It is impossible to want anything from anybody and not have friction develop. I think I should read that again. It is impossible to want anything from anybody and not have friction develop. No matter how close two persons may be, the moment one of them wants something from the other, a defense mechanism is set up and conflict ensues. There is no way to enjoy perfect human relationships except to want nothing from anybody. Then we have normal, happy relationships because we are free to share without thinking of anything in return. We will never be free of needing money, companionship, or a home until we reach the stage of illumination in which we have no desire for any of those things because they are all inbuilt, all included in the consciousness which we are. We do not try to demonstrate persons, things, or conditions because if we succeed in gaining any desired object, we might be afraid to let it go. And on the spiritual path, we must not be afraid to let anything or anyone go. Don't worry about it, I got you one more time. And on the spiritual path, we must not be afraid to let anything or anyone go. In fact, at least once a day, there should be a period of releasing this world and everything and everyone in it. We have no right even to try to hold on to the truth that we learned yesterday. If we could empty ourselves every day of all we know, we would make way for what God has to reveal and what man has never far even yet received. If we are trying to hold on to anything or anybody, if we continue to live on yesterday's manna, we are living wholly in material consciousness, and we have no measurable amount of illumination. The manna falls day by day, and the more receptive we are, the greater the measure of it that we receive. Holding me close to his bosom, saying, go deep. God's grace is my sufficiency. In Wayne Dyer's book, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, on page 263, it's titled, in that book he's reviewing the Tao, which is an ancient book from way hundreds of years before Jesus was born. And that is a manual for living, a manual for life. But in it on page 263, the title of this particular chapter that is reviewing verse 54 of the Tao, the title is Living as If Your Life Makes a Difference. And no matter whether we are focusing on the extraordinary or the ordinary, the question still remains. Are we living as if our life makes a difference? And the ordinary or the extraordinary, and Howard Thurman calls the ordinary the great occasions. Everyday living. From the time we wake up until the time we lay ourselves down at night. The ordinary. Are we living it as if our life makes a difference? In the ordinary. Every day. And because this is not something that just happens, this then is a conscious choice that we all have to make. Whether we're going to live as if our life makes a difference. Because if we're not living that way, if it's not a choice that we've made, then every day then we get to decide if we are ready to change or not. It's your choice. To change and to begin to live as if our lives makes a difference. To see life as it is. This is not a call to make something happen. It's a call to let it happen. To let life happen through you and through me. So the 54th verse of the Tao says, whoever is planted in the Tao will not be rooted up. And whoever embraces the Tao will not slip away. It's calling us to be rooted in it and to embrace it, to come close enough to it, to life, to one another, to hear what life is gently whispering to us, to go deeper. In the everyday living. And so, instead of living then, what happens is that we can easily get busy. Get so carried away with all that life has before us. Moving from one task to another. Doing things, completing things, and instead of them being complete in things. Round and around and around and around. And the more things we complete then, there can be this false sense of wholeness. Where we want to put our trust in things outside of us instead of putting our trust in what's within us. God's grace is my sufficiency. And perhaps what life is asking us to do then is to change. So that we can begin to acknowledge what's within, so that we can begin to acknowledge what's sacred in this moment. So we can begin to acknowledge what's sacred about me. So that I can live as if my life matters. What's sacred about me? What's sacred about life? So that we can begin to imagine what's sacred about my life. What's sacred about my life. A call for us to see life as it is, and not how we think it is. You see life as it is, not how we think it is. A little bit more from Joel Goldsmith in the same book, of Parentheses in Eternity, on page 277. He talks about this life, and he says that the spiritual life differs so completely from human experience that when we embark on this course, we are really setting out on uncharted seas. Not that others have not been there before us, but the log of someone else's journey does not always point the way for us. We have to have the patience to move forward slowly, yet with steadfast purpose. Above all things, from this moment on, we must never accept any sense of limitation. We must never feel that any good is beyond our capacity or reach, or that any heights are too high to attain. But there are no limits to the I which we are, after we have made contact with it. In proportion as we understand that we are one with the Father, in that proportion do we understand that all that the Father has is ours. The mind of God is ours, the life of God is our life, the soul of God is our soul. There is only one Spirit, one life, one soul, and that is yours and mine. So in order then for us to live as if our life matters, and as the reading suggests, we are setting out on uncharted seas. To begin to bring God, to be so rooted in and embraced by the divine power and presence of God is a journey for us to move into uncharted seas, to go and to be and to do something that we've never been, to go somewhere we've never gone before, to do something that we've never done. Not in the extraordinary, but in the ordinary. That perhaps when we wake up to the morning, we start to affirm that God's grace is my sufficiency. And that whatever the demand may be upon us this day, that the supply is always made. So Ernest Holmes says that that this somehow, or maybe he speaks to it somehow in this way in his book, Living the Size of Mind, he calls this the great surrender. Living as if our life makes a difference. He calls it the great surrender. And I just want to just read a little bit from what Ernest Holmes has to say about it. He says that every man's search is for something that will make him whole and happy, something that will cause him to feel safe and secure. And we believe something that will make him certain that he is going to live forever somewhere. We cannot believe that the divine intelligence which created everything, including ourselves, could possibly have done so without at the same time providing a way for us to live as happy and whole humans and divine beings. He says we are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe right now. And that God, the supreme spirit and intelligence in the universe, and the power that governs everything is not not some far-off presence. It is something that is immediate, a presence that is here with us now. He said that this presence is not only with us, but within us. We live in it and it moves through us. When Jesus said that we must lose our lives, he must have been referring to that part of us which denies the supreme presence, and that part of us which lives contrary to it, that part of us which is out of harmony with it. He was telling us that there are certain things we have to surrender before we can find our true center, the real spirit of the perfect man, which he always